Yo, what's going on? So I'm starting a series on this channel called Ad Series, where I'm going to be breaking down my agency's entire ads process that we've used to generate nearly 8 figures in the last 3 or so years. But nothing will be gatekept. So if you're a media buyer, marketing agency owner, freelance, brand scaler, or even just a brand owner trying to understand the game of marketing a little bit better, then make sure to stick around for this one. In this episode, I'm going to be going over what a customer matrix is and how you can utilize it to better understand your target customer in order to create content and ads that better resonate with them, so you can use it to increase your conversion rate, CPA, LTV, ROAS, all those good metrics we love to see. As always, the resources that I'm showcasing in this video will be in the pinned comment. That's enough introductions. Let's get right into it. So first off, like I said, episode 1, customer matrix. So first question is probably, what is a customer matrix? A customer matrix is an overview that breaks down who your customer is and why specifically they will buy from you or your brand or your product. And this can apply for, e-commerce products, info products, anything you're selling. There is a certain, customer that you want buying from you. And it's up to you as the brand owner, as the founder, as the CEO, as the marketing manager, whoever you are, who's in charge of marketing, in charge of putting your product out there and getting eyes on it. It's your job, your duty to figure out who exactly these customers are in order to increase the chances that they buy from you. So the way you start off is with one customer persona, and as you develop it, you can create more personas based on your audience research and your understanding of your consumer as the brand owner. You can have a customer profile and have different levels of personas under that profile, right? So it's not just one customer profile and then it's like a different customer profile. There's different levels to the profiles. Like every profile has its own persona. I'll get into depth into that in a second. You're probably asking though, how do I find my customer persona? Which I'm going to be using this to kind of showcase. This is my customer matrix. So first off, obviously the label customer profile, and then you have an age group. Usually pretty important to kind of give you better understanding of who your persona is and the actual persona itself, right? So for mine, I'm using the example of a brand I'm helping build right now. And so the persona for this specific profile, which like I said, you can have multiple different, personas under the title of young entrepreneurs as our customer profile. We can have different personas. For this persona though, we have Chris, young entrepreneur who is working to build generational wealth and change the world. Occupations and interests, which I haven't filled in yet, but that can be like, 0 to 10K a month business owner who's been doing this for a year or two, but hasn't really seen any, luck or success besides a couple small wins, but he still has the vision, right? Things like that. Interest could be things like, self-improvement, going to the gym, et cetera, right? Eating healthy, biohacking, holistic medicines, things like that, right? And then what you do is you'd write a life before the product. So they're always stressed about this, or they're worried about this, or they feel this way about their life. And their life after is feelings of, gratitude or more happiness or more success, whatever the case may be. And then the purchase reasoning, which is like usually how they found your product, and their exact reasoning for why they bought it, which this stuff is very important, but I use AI prompts to help me with it. And when I first came up with this, some months ago, I think it's actually probably been a year or two. This was way back in 2023 when I first made this. But I've iterated on it a lot since then, especially this year, integrating AI into the process to, speed things up. But when I first made it, I was using GPT-4o, or maybe it was GPT-4, I forget, but it was not the best model. And, the reasoning was not the best. So it was kind of a headache, and I kind of just went back to writing it on my own. But using GPT-04 mini, I'm telling you right now, it's a game changer. But here's the AI prompt I use. So I'm trying to write a customer matrix for my clothing brand. We've created an ideal customer profile named blank, who is blank, right? And you would fill in, Chris and a young entrepreneur who blah, 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 or whatever your persona is. And then I need help articulating a life before, life after product, and purchase reasoning for the customer matrix that I'm creating. The theme of our clothing brand is blank, and we made it for blank. And you can even take this a step further and open ChatGPT and go into depth on your clothing brand itself first in terms of the themes and like everything surrounding the brand, the meetings, everything. Like really go in depth with this and tell it everything. You want to give it as much, info to work with as possible. And then from there, you tell it, I'm trying to write a customer matrix. And then you would fill in like I need help articulating this, this, and that. And then it'll probably be able to write it a little bit better than giving it one sentence at the end. But for the purpose of, this example, I'm just going to be doing what I said and just using the example at the end. So here's what I wrote. I'm trying to write a customer matrix for my clothing brand. We've created an ideal customer profile named Chris, who is a young entrepreneur who is working to build generational wealth and change the world. I need help articulating a life before product, life after product, and purchase reasoning. The theme of our clothing brand is clothing and accessories for creatives, visionaries, and people who want to change the world. And we make it for young entrepreneurs like Chris. So I would take this, plug it into ChatGPT, and as simple as that, let it do its thing and kind of see what it comes up with. Like, so it's going to give us 2 different responses. Let's see which one's better. Okay, so I read through real quick, and both of these responses are really good. So what I'm going to do is combine them, because, like I said, they're both really good. So for the life before product, we're going to fill this in. I would fill it in here, but it's going to be a little bit of a headache. I'll just write it down under. But really good work from ChatGPT. Like, seriously, shit is a game changer. If you're not using ChatGPT, and specifically, 4.0, 04 mini, and you don't have Plus, you're holding yourself back. You're losing money, is the way I see it, by not having ChatGPT. Me and my entire team, I put all of them through a prompting course, so they understand prompting really well. Because I'm trying to build them into mini me's to be able to help us take over the game. But this is a really good life before product. I think some of these kind of overlap. Let me reread this. Generic. I'm gonna go. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. These ones are the same. So life before and then life after. We're gonna fill in both of these because these are really good. This one's more on like the self-expression side and movement. This one's more on like connection, and credibility. So like outside looking. This one's more inside looking. I like both though, so I'm gonna go with both. Add both in there. This one too. Oops. And then purchase reasoning, which honestly makes more sense to be in the middle. I like the way it did that. I usually put it at the end. I mean, it doesn't really matter where you put it, but oh wait, hold on. I messed that up. This one is purchase reasoning. So what are these first 3 bullet points? Put these down here. And then it's cool. We'll go this way. It makes it easy that way. All right, so this is cool. This is what we're gonna work with. So life before, or life before product, disconnected from identity, lack of confidence signals, no community cue. Life after, distinctive, purpose-driven style, instant credibility boost, belonging and connection, and daily reminder of his mission. And the reasoning is to help him express individuality and ambition, quality that matches his grind, and belonging to a movement, right? So all these things play into the customer's decision into buying your said product. For this brand we're working with, this is pretty spot on. Like, I'm actually very surprised with, giving it a 1-sentence fucking, description on the brand and the vision behind it. And it gives us a very, very good, kind of template to work with on, writing our customer matrix. So like, you would take this, probably rewrite it into paragraph form and fill it into here. And then from there, you'll kind of dive into occupations and interests, which I didn't even feed this yet. If I were to have fed it, I'm sure it probably would have gave us better, better results, things like, and it depends too, because like I said, you can have different personas. So we could have a young entrepreneur who is, 0 to 10K. Let's just say this one, 0 to 10K a month. That's kind of a easy number to kind of like, put if I had to put what's the word? Kind of like a filter or like different, what's the word I'm looking for? Not filter, but different like categorization, I guess, for the different levels of young entrepreneurs, right? So you could be 0 to 10K, you could be 10 to 30K or 10 to 50K, and then like 50 to 200K, and then like 300K plus, right? There's different levels to it. And every different level probably have different occupations and interests, right? 0 to 10K, you're more in the trenches. 10 to 30K, 10 to 50K, you're more leveraged. You have some sort of a team probably built, unless you're selling info. And then like 50 to 200, you probably have some sort of team. You're less in the trenches work. You're more like delegation, things like that. And then 300K plus, maybe you have some sort of equity stakes, things like that. Your company could be doing $1 million a month and you're taking dividends, $2 million a month. You're taking dividends at 300K. the month, things like that, right? I'm going off monthly too. I'm not going off of yearly. So I mean, but like I said, there's different ways to classify and categorize your personas, all under the customer profile of young entrepreneurs, right? And as you're building on this, you want to like kind of add the different things into the customer profile. So you would say here, this one is 18 to 29, and then 0 to 10K, just to kind of help categorize it better as you're going through the entire customer matrix, which I'll be going into the next video and kind of giving a better breakdown on the actual occupations and interests and how to actually do research into your audience to figure out more things. Because the more, like I said, the more touch points you can give the AI, the more research you do, the more touch points you can feed it, the better the outputs it'll give you. And all these are like outputs or inputs you want to be giving the AI to kind of refeed back in to help you structure your messaging, structure your hooks within your content, within your organic, within your ads, within everything you do. Using AI to leverage to build that messaging is the way you win. I think going forward in the next 5-10 years, as we've seen like GPT-04 mini and image generation coming out. That was about over a month ago. It was around end of March. It's beginning of May now, so it's been out for over a month. Me and my team are taking it to the max. We're utilizing it every way we can. I put all of them, like I said, through prompting courses to help them really understand the depths that can be achieved when you utilize AI correctly. This is, like I said, small little portion of how we utilize AI within our ads process to help our clients do really well, as well as with content, organic content, not just ads. This messaging, you want it to be kind of omnipresent. You want to be everywhere with it. So that's kind of like what I'm trying to give here. Give just a good basis to help people understand how to utilize AI and marketing messaging to push their brands further.